camera. I hope some of you had a chance to go out and use your camera in the last couple of days. If not, I definitely want you to get it in your hands and use it this weekend. Um, so let me go ahead and share the homepage here with you for a second. We'll take a look at what's going on. So we're in the second week. So today we're going to go through, if you've used your camera or when you use your camera, how to get the images from your SD card into the computer and start working with them. I'm going to go ahead and use Adobe Bridge today and take a look at that and talk a little bit about it. You should have received an email from me with the instructions to get the Adobe software, how to access it. So I hope most of you have done that. The last class, actually, several people said they got the instructions and they got the Adobe Creative Cloud downloaded onto their computer. So once you get to the cloud, the Adobe Creative Cloud on your computer, you don't need to access or download all the software programs. The ones that we're going to be using for this class, Photoshop you will definitely need. Bridge, I'm going to show you how to use. You can choose whether to use it or not. And then Lightroom, I spend a little bit of time. I use a Bridge and Photoshop more often. But we'll have some talk about Lightroom and how to use it, and I'll show you that. So those are the three software programs we'll be using. You're welcome to download any of the others that you want to as well. And again, I think that your licenses will continue through the semester, and I'm not sure how far into the summer they'll go, whether they go till next semester or how that works. So just to let you know. So if you haven't received that email from me, it is in your Rio Hondo email. If you're enrolled in the class, I sent it to everybody enrolled in the class as of 2 days ago or something like that. So if you have not received that email, make sure you check your Rio Hondo email. If you still don't have it, and I think somebody sent, or somebody I talked to the other day didn't have it, but if you added late, so I don't know about people who were on the wait list, but if you added late, or if you registered really late, I don't even think the registering, if you added the class and you haven't received the email, let me know, because there's a second list I have to put you on to get you access. So if that's the case, shoot me an email or wait till after class to tell me, and I will try to make a list of those people who still haven't received the Adobe software letter. Okay, so with that today, like I said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Bridge. We're going to look at card readers, getting the images off of your camera and into the computer. And I'm going to hit the first assignment a little bit, especially when I show you how to take the images off. And then we're going to talk about a couple artists today, Ansel Adams and Kyle Thompson. Because this is important, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. Because this class is a technical class. I want you to learn how to use your cameras and how depth of field and aperture and shutter work together and all of that kind of stuff. I want you to get correct exposures. I want you to understand how the camera works. Great. And there's even a little quiz coming up next week. I'd like you to take that quiz about camera operations, and we'll see where we stand with all of that. But this class is also an art class. And as much as it's about the technical stuff, it's also about what you make images of. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on what you make images of, and why artists make images and what they do and how they hope they'll function out in the world, and how to make your images better and more interesting and all of that sort of stuff. So I will spend a lot of time on that. The thing is, making an interesting photograph is difficult. One, having an idea. Two, realizing that idea, and really taking the little bit of extra time to make things right. And I'm gonna talk about that more today. I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow and the day after, because I don't want you to make boring photographs. You know, this isn't just about making evidence photographs. You know, those are necessary. We actually have in the darkroom one of the instructors. We work with the police academy, and we teach them a lot about how a camera works, what they need to do, and how to set up for crime scene photographs, how to take evidence photographs. And that's a much different thing than making an art photograph. An art photograph has an idea behind it. It is intended for other people to see. It is based in the context of art making and image making and how it functions out in the world. So we'll be spending time talking about that, and I'll be going over it and over it again because I'm kind of selfish. I don't really care if you make boring photographs. I don't want to look at boring photographs. So hopefully we make things that we find more interesting. So with that said, that's sort of the plan for today. So let me go ahead and get started. Here in week 2, also, if you don't get how the camera is working, that camera lecture, that sort of 1 hour of apertures, shutters, how they work together, is right here in the camera review if you want to go there. But if not, let's talk about the idea that you went out and you used your camera. So the other day we talked about the shooting modes and all of that sort of thing, that you set your camera up. We talked about where some of the buttons are on it, and hopefully you got it in your hands and you went out and took a photo or two. So let me just. So once you take a photo, you will notice on the back, you can view your photos. So that little button here with the arrow in it is the review button. So you can see your images. You'll have to use this little dial here to go back through the images that you've taken, okay? I went out and shot just some quick images this morning on this camera so that I could show you a couple of things and talk about a couple of things. They're not great photographs. In fact, if you were to make them, I'd be really upset. But, and I hate the answer that I only had a little bit of time, but I didn't plan ahead. I didn't think about it. So you get to suffer with boring photographs that I made, but that's the nature of things. So once you take a photograph, now what we have to do is we have to get the photographs out of the camera and into our computer. That's what we're going to be doing in this class. In order to look at them, to send them, to do anything with them, they need to come out of your camera and get into the computer. So here is the little door that I open, and there is my SD card. Remember, that is like the film for the camera. We've talked about this. This is just a 4 gigabyte SD card, a very small one, a cheap one. All right, so I've gone ahead and taken this SD card. Now, my images are on this card. How do I get them into the computer? Well, I actually have a MacBook in front of me, and my MacBook allows me to take the SD card, and on the side of my MacBook is actually a slot that looks like this top slot here. You would look at the side of the MacBook and you wouldn't even notice it, but it is just a slot. That is a card reader slot. It's meant for SD cards. If I put this in, let me stop sharing with you here for a second. If I put that in, let me share my screen here with my desktop.
Do you have a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air?
I have MacBook Pro.
Okay.
And the MacBooks, or I'm sorry, most, like even the Apple monitors at school have a card reader in them. So a lot of, and I've noticed a lot of other computers now putting card readers in them. So they may just have one in them. So I went ahead and put my card in the side there. Now, you should be seeing my desktop here. I have a little mountain, have my photo 185 online stuff in there, an untitled folder where I keep all my other junk. But you'll notice up here now, that this card says Nikon D7100. I shot it with a Nikon D3200. I had named my card, so that's the SD card that I was using in that camera. I can click and move it around my desktop here, but when I double click on it, you'll see, let me go back. You'll see a DCIM folder. It's the way that the card is formatted. It's going to have that. You're going to click on it again. It's going to show me now the camera that I shot it with. So even though this says Nikon D7100, I shot it with a D3200. In that folder are going to be the images that I shot today. This being the last one that I just took of our screen. So this is how I see you people. So you can see these images are here on this card. Now, to move them around is fairly simple. Again, I don't know what kind of computer you're using, so you have to bear with me. I'm showing you the way I do it. You may have to figure your own way around, but I can click and select an image and I can just drag it here. Notice the little plus sign comes up. And now it exists not only on this card, because that's what this card is, the Nikon card here, but now it also exists on my desktop. So in this class, we're going to spend not a huge amount of time on file management, because for a photographer, it is very difficult. I shouldn't say it's very difficult. It's very important that you manage your images. To be able to find them, to be able to go back, to do any one of a number of things. So how you file your images is going to be up to you. I'm going to show you different ways that people approach it, but you have to decide what works best for you. So right now, I just dragged that image from there down here onto my desktop. If I were to close this, drag this card into the trash, I would now be able to take the card out. So now I have the card here, and you can see, not in the computer, but that image that I brought in is right there, okay? So that's how you would just transfer a file from your SD card onto your computer. So let me do it again. I'm just gonna slide this here into the side. It's gonna show up, Nikon D7100. I could even now click on it and see how this box gets blue. If I click on it again and I get this light blue, I can rename it. So this is going to be my demo SD card. All right, so I've renamed it. Oh, I don't understand why. All right, my demo card. So that is what it is. Now, if I click on it, I'm still going to have this DCIM. I'm still going to have that 3200, and those images are still going to be in there. But it allowed me to rename the card. Now, if I went ahead and double clicked on this, I can name this. Now notice it didn't duplicate it for me. It just renamed it. If I were to drag this out here, oh, maybe because I changed the name of the card. Let me try it again now. Take the card out, slide it in. Let me see here. Oh, great. There's my demo card. It didn't save that image. Huh. Where would it be the other one go? Oh, it went down here. All right, so the one that I renamed, it just puts down here. So, and as you can see, I can move them around that way, and it moved it down at the bottom because now it starts with an M. So it's filed these in alphabetical order. But that's how you would move your cards around. If I wanted to go to my desktop and go to new folder, now I could name this mermaid images. I could select a whole group of them. So I just clicked and dragged across these images. So you can see how it selected all of them. If I want to select individuals to go along with them, I'm going to take my finger and hold down the command key. The command key is the one right next to the space bar. So right to the left of it, it says command on a Mac. I'm not sure what the if it's Mac, it's what the PC shortcut is. But I'm holding this down and I click again on my mouse, and I can select as many as I want. If I select on one, now I can undo those. But I can take all these images my chubby fingers. Not what I wanted to do. Okay, so again, I can go ahead and click and drag across all these images. And let me take this one out. God, I hate when this happens. Oh, sometimes trying to get my fingers to work is just not good. All right, so now I click and drag, and you can see that it's telling me it's going to take 20 of those images, and it's going to either add them to the desktop, or if I bring it over here, you'll see how that folder sort of clicks, and then I put them in here, and it's showing me that it's copying them, and it's saving them all here to this folder. And the reason why I would do that is, so now they exist on my SD card, but they also exist on my computer in this mermaid images file. Let me take this one here. So now, if I wanted to, I have all these images. And if I try to drag this one in, what it's going to tell me is already exists. I can either say to keep both, or I can replace it. Same thing when I drag these, it's going to tell me the same thing. So, and to get rid of these images, I can simply click, drag, and throw them into the trash. Remember, nothing's gone until you go to your empty trash, and those are all gone. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on working on your computer. You should know how the operating systems work, but just an idea. You want to have your images. So I have a duplicate set of those exact same images right now on this folder that says mermaid images. If I double click that, you'll see here is that group of images. If I double click on my demo card, you can see that they exist in two places. So this one right up here will tell me mermaid images in that folder. This one over here tells me in the D3200 folder, those images exist. So, you know, copying your images, having backups, because if something happens to my SD card, I could lose all my images if it gets wet or if it gets damaged, anything like that. So having them backed up on the computer is good, or now I could move them onto a jump drive or a secondary hard drive, you know, an external hard drive like we talked about the first day. So all of those are different ways of just moving your images around from using that SD card. So let me throw this in here. Now, that was plugging it into the side of my computer. I can also use one of these. This is an SD card, or this is just a card reader. And you'll notice that it will read compact flash cards, or it will read SD, or Microsoft micro cards, all sorts of things. It's a USB port. So when I go ahead and put that in my computer into a USB port, and now I just go ahead and take my SD card and slide it in. You'll notice the icon shows up a little differently. Still the same name. Still the same images in that folder there. Okay. So however you can get your computer to recognize your card, whether there's a slot in the side, whether you use a card reader, or your camera should come with a cable that you can hook the camera directly up to the computer as well. So those are all different ways. You want to drag your images into your computer though. So you want to get them from there to there. Now, I just threw that in the trash. Let me go ahead. What I wanted to show you is, so here in the Creative Cloud, well, Photoshop has another update. I have Bridge. I'm going to go ahead and open Bridge. I already have it installed on my computer. Now you'll notice when I do that, it's going to show it down here. Does everybody see my desktop now? If you're not, yell it out. So you'll see that it opened Bridge for me. Down here, the little BR, that's the Bridge icon. So across the top here, you know, I can close this, and I can close this. It still has launched Bridge. So Bridge exists down here as this little thumbnail. Okay. I can, once I put my demo card in, I can drag this down here to Bridge, and it will open Bridge for me. And you'll notice now it's telling me, it's giving me this sort of standard window. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today, but it's giving me this sort of standard window, and I can open this. And again, you'll see here's the folder. What it's telling me across here is on the computer, in the demo card, this is showing me the filing hierarchy. It's as if you had a filing cabinet. So it's saying, oh, you're using the filing cabinet. Great. Now it's saying demo card, which would be like top drawer. Okay. Now it's saying, oh, it's in this folder. Inside that folder is another folder, D3200, and here's your images. Okay. Now we're going to use Bridge for a number of things because I like Bridge. And we'll talk about why Bridge is similar to or different from Lightroom and things like that. I usually use the film strip mode, which puts my images down here. As I click on an image, it shows me that image. It should also I can work from the essentials. I can work from the film strip mode. If you go to the essentials, what is interesting is, as I click on an image, it will give me the information that I shot, how I shot that image. So it's going to tell me the size of it. It's going to tell me the name, what type of file. As I go through here, it's going to tell me, should tell me when I shot it, at what time. Must not have the time set on my camera because I did not shoot it today. Huh, I shot these this morning, not last night. It's going to show me the focal length of my lens, what lens I was using. It's going to give you all the metadata of your image. So it's going to do all the stuff that your camera was using. It should tell me where my ISO was set, where my exposure was set, what f-stop and what shutter speed I was using. All of those things will show up here. So again, uh, it's showing me how it changed. So I was using an auto white balance where I had the ISO set, or if it was set an auto, it's going to show me what it shot at. So all of those things will be there in your image. Okay. All right. Why does this keep happening? All right. So again, how you like to look at your images is going to be up to you. What information you want to see from them, all of that sort of thing. Uh, Bridge will talk about how to adjust those things. The thing that I love about Bridge is that it allows me quickly to rename my images. So if there were a set of images that I liked, let's see, I took this one. I'm going to hold down the command key. I'm going to select this one. All right. Under tools, it'll allow me to batch rename. And what does that mean? That means I can come up with a name for it. So I'm going to call it Mermaid Demo. I don't want the date created. I don't need another text. I'm going to finish. I'm going to start my sequence number with 1, and I just want 2 digits for each one. Okay. And I can either preserve the file name and all that. We're going to go through this over and over again because we'll be doing this a lot. But now here's my mermaid demo. Once I hit rename, I'm going to rename them in the same folder. I can either move to another folder or copy to another folder. If they move, it just renames them and moves the file. If you copy it, now you'll have a second set of the same file. But I'm just going to go ahead and rename in the same folder. And you can see now it's renamed them. Here's Mermaid Demo 1, Demo 2, Demo 3, Demo 4, and Demo 5. So that went ahead and just renamed them. So a lot of times, that's a quick way if you've shot 6 for this thing and 7 for that other thing, to quickly move them in and out, to rename them so that you can separate them. So let's say that I wanted to go now with these. I'm holding down the shift key and I'm going to go all the way to this, and you can see how many it's selected. And again, I go to batch rename, and I'm going to call this Mermaid Demo. I can add another text on rock. And I'm going to start this sequence number at 1. Again, 2 digits, rename in the same folder. So now all the images of the mermaid on the rock are there. So again, quick way to rename your images. You could copy them this way. You can move them to another folder through here. If you just want to see your images, you can. You can change the size of this. If I just want to select a single image, I also have the ability down here. These zoom bars just always bother me. They're always in my way. Down here, I can also change the size of those thumbnails. But you see, as I do that, then the one I have selected becomes less apparent. I can go back to the image I made today. Now, in Bridge, we're going to take a look at this in the next few days, because in Bridge, you can also come in and it has the ability to go ahead and change your image some. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. If you want to play around here, I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about this later, but this allows you to go ahead and make adjustments to your image right here in Camera Raw. And again, we'll be talking about that next week. I'll be spending a little bit more time on it. But if you've downloaded the software and you want to bring your images in and take a look, I would suggest it. If you go out and shoot things this weekend, bring them in, take a look. Now, you can make adjustments in Bridge. We're going to spend more time in Photoshop because you can make more and better adjustments and all that sort of thing. But that is the quick way to get your images in the computer, to sort of sort them out. You know, if you don't like an image, so, oh, let's see here. I don't like that image. I can hit Command Delete. It'll ask me, do you want to move this to the trash? I hit OK. And now it puts it in the trash for me. Okay. All right. So that is the quick intro. I didn't eject or close that. That is the quick way to sort of take your SD card, load it into your computer, move your images around. If you want to rename them, you can do that. Or if you just want to click on individual files and rename them. So start thinking about how you're going to organize your images as you take them. You know, I'm going to ask for things to be named a certain way. A lot of times I'll ask you to name them assignment 1, requirement 1, and then your last name, so that I know those images are yours when I take a look at them. You know, so there will be different times that I ask you to rename images. You can go through them singly, or, you know, Bridge is a quick way to see a lot of your images and to sort of organize them by name, move them into other folders, and do that sort of thing. So if you have the software, download Bridge and see about it. It's also what we're going to use to make proof sheets when you turn in your assignments. So all of those things we'll be using Bridge to do. You can also use Lightroom for them. If you prefer to look at Lightroom, download Lightroom and take a look. I'm going to talk about Lightroom in a couple of weeks, but I usually start with Bridge. It's for my own reason. One is I use it more, so I know it better. But we'll talk about what those different